perception, I have already said the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the skin. So all these 10 indriyas or the senses, they perform, but they are being controlled by the mind, and mind is controlled by the intellect, and intellect is empowered by the memory. This is how the things go. So how does the communication take place? So the communication takes place through nerves. If I tell you how many nerves are in our body, you will be amazed. And this is actually given in the Upanishad. The Upanishad says that our body has 727.2 million nerves. 727.2 nerves. How do I count them? It says that from the heart, it's in the heart that the soul is residing. Jo Atma, what we call the Atma or the self, that's residing in the heart. And from there are 101 nerves that are coming out. So these 101 nerves are carrying the commands from the driver who is sitting in. And then each 101 nerve has 100 secondary nerves. And then each secondary nerve has a wire mesh of 72,000 nerves. So 101 primary nerves, each nerve having 100 secondary nerves, and each secondary nerve having a small network mesh of 72,000 nerves. And if you multiply them, you come to this astronomical figure of 727.2 million nerves. So that's how the operator inside, the driver inside, is actually exercising control all over our body. So when we are doing this, all these kriyas, the shat kriyas, these kriyas are helping to ensure that this communication system, the nerves are totally free, they are communicating the messages properly. If these are not free, then we have real problem. We will be talking in the last section about meditation. There I will tell you more about these nerves. But just now I want to come to pranayam as to what is pranayam. Now, general understanding about pranayam is breathing, because breathing is the physical action that is taking place. But breath is not prana. Prana means energy. When we say my pran have come out, कि मेरे प्राण निकल गए, means the life has gone out of me. We don't say the breath has gone, that's swas. Swas is breath. Prana is the energy, the life that is flowing in the body. So we do not say swasayam, that is the interval of breath in the body. We are saying pran ayam, the span of pran, life energy in the body. So the breathing process has two elements in it. The first element is the breath, about which we all know, and I do not need to worry much. But the second element, which is pran. So pran is energy, and energy is not going into the lungs with the breath. Energy is actually, it is written in the books that this pran gets absorbed by the nerve system. So we have two major nerves operating through these two nostrils, and they meet at this point. That's why this point is very essential, and we must ensure that this point always remains very relaxed, so that the communication through these two nerves going through this major nerves, which is the sushumna, which connects the brain with the rest of the body. The sushumna is traveling through the spine. In the middle of the spine it travels, and that is why spine is so important, because all the communication to the rest of the body from the brain is taking place through this major nerve. So therefore the breathing process, while the breath is going into the lungs, it's the pran that is flowing to the nerves, and it's flowing in the spine. So that is how the energy flow actually takes place in the spine. You would have heard about Kundalini and all that. I do not want to confuse you just now about that. But just know that when you are breathing, the breathing process, of course, is taking place through the lungs, but the prana is actually flowing in the spine. So from the bottom of the spine to the crown, that's where the energy flow takes place. So when we are doing our pranayama process, we should be actually alive, that we are observing the energy flow in the body. It doesn't happen so easily. If you are just starting with this, then of course you will need to just keep doing this practice without worrying कि मुझे तो कुछ पता ही नहीं चल रहा है, I'm not able to feel anything, because these things come after long practice. I've been practicing it now for more than 37 years. So, and even now I can't claim that I have all the knowledge. So therefore, take your time, but be aware as to what you are doing and what you are actually looking forward to. Because once you are aware about that, you will be constantly progressing in your practice. So I now invite you to this session on pranayama, a short session. Pranayama, because as I said, it's related to this energy flow, and it cannot be so easily guided in a video or in a book. So it's always good to have a guru, a person who has good understanding of these practices, who can help you to get to the higher and higher practices of pranayama. Because unless the person himself or herself has experienced it, mere book knowledge cannot enable us to explain everything. You may have so many questions, and those questions must be answered to your satisfaction. They have to be logical, they have to make sense. That is why I say this is yoga science. It is a science which can be proved to the last letter of it. And it's not that you just need to believe in it. Yes, initially you believe in it, you have full faith in it, but once you start practicing, you yourself are able to experience every bit of it, and that's the time you say, oh yes, it's a science. It's your conviction, it's not faith any longer. So enjoy this session on pranayama. So far we have been exercising our body, and we have been using the breath, because breath is the healing part of it, and we have tried to exercise the whole body. Now we want to move beyond body level, and we want to move inwards, see inside the body what is there inside the body. And to do that, we need to bring our body to complete stationary state. So that is why asana is very important. Like this is Padmasana, and Padmasana gives us the best sitting posture. It has complete grip with the, I cannot like topple anyway. It is giving me a firm grip. The other good asana for dhyan and for pranayama is the Siddhasana. So for Siddhasana, you press the heel in this middle portion between your sex organ and the anus, and then sit down, and then bring your left heel over the sex organ, push your toes in, this toe goes in there, and this becomes the Siddhasana. This also gives you a good grip with the ground. So these Padmasana and Siddhasana, these two are the best asanas for pranayama and for dhyan, meditation. And other one, of course, is the Vajrasana, which you already know. That is, this is Vajrasana. One can also do a little bit of, like you can sit like this also, so your legs are on the sides. It depends how much flexibility you have at your various joints. And if you are not comfortable with any of these asanas, then you can start sitting with the
cross-legged asana. So here you see you have these knees which are hanging. So as much as you can bring them down, this is called the swastika asana. So if you can come to this asana, this is also good. So these are the different postures. And the Hatha Yoga that we performed so far, the yoga asanas, are primarily to ensure that our body is flexible, our body can be brought to rest, and we can go to the pranayam and the dhyan. So I will sit in the Padmasana and then start with the rounds of pranayam. I would like to say that whatever I'm doing, if you are a beginner, if you are doing it for the first time, you will not be able to sustain it. So you start with it, and whenever you get tired, you can just rest. Do not overdo anything. That is the fundamental principle of yogasanas, pranayam. So now we start with Bhastrika, which is simply the abdominal breathing. We will be using our abdominal muscles as a pump. We push it in, we breathe out completely, and we let it come out, breathe in completely, and that is Bhastrika. So we start. So you will see that it is not easy to start with the abdominal breathing for the first time, but slowly, as you continue with this, you will become very comfortable, and then you can use your abdominal muscles. They become very strong. They do not allow your belly to just bloat out like a inflated balloon. So it's very good for the abdominal area as well as also for igniting the fire in the body. Now after this is the Kapalbhati. In Kapalbhati we have the breath out all the time. The breath in is involuntary. It happens by itself. So how do we start? We press the abdomen, breathe out, and then again breathe out. So we concluded the Kapalbhati with the Bahya Pranayam, where we exhale and hold the breath out as long as possible. Now we will do the Agnisar Kriya, and this is primarily for the abdominal area. So we breathe in and then breathe out completely. Pull your abdominal area in, the lower abdomen completely going to the spine, and then try to flex your abdominal muscles in and out, in and out. So just see, breathe in. So you have to hold the breath out and exercise the the intestines, which form like a tube. So we try once more. these 4 of them, this starting with the Bhastrika, that is igniting the fire, burning the toxins. Then the second Kapalbhati, which is breath out, breath out. So we are primarily through the breath cleaning our blood by taking the carbon dioxide out. So toxins we are releasing, and part of them are also going through the cleaning system, like the kidneys and others, and they go to the urine or the bowel movement. And then the Bahya Pranayam, that is the holding the external breath out in the external exhale position. And finally the Agnisar, which is primarily the abdominal invigoration. Now we do the alternate breathing. So alternate breathing, our one hand is in the meditative posture. We use these fingers in 3 joints. So with the thumb we close the right nostril. If you are a right-hander, if you are a left, then you can use your left to close. And using this, we use this the ring and the small finger for the left and the thumb for the right. So starting from here, so as we start the pranayam, and as we go to the higher and higher levels of pranayam, we start getting into the meditative part of it. There are several other pranayams. The Nadi Shodhan, where we breathe in like, and then hold the breath with locks, the Jalandhar Bandh. Then we breathe out through the left nostril, right nostril. So we can continue the Nadi Shodhan at least for 5 rounds, 10 rounds. And the more we do, the more we get into the meditative posture. Our nerves start communicating. Our mind is now not going out. It's no longer connected with the senses. Senses are already gone to rest. And the mind is moving inwards. It's connecting with through our intellect with the memory, what is called the chitta. And that's how the dhyan starts. And dhyan will always start with your worries, with your stresses. Whatever is in your memory, that will come, that will flash on your mind. And gradually, as you address all your worries, you put them to rest. That's what is called the chitta vritti nirodha. Then you start going to that pleasure, the joy state, where you have less thoughts or no thoughts, and you are now floating. You are no longer at your body level, no longer at your breath level. You do not know whether you are breathing or not breathing. You have moved even beyond your mind. You are now directly in touch with your chitta, with your memory. I'll just show 3 more pranayams. We'll do the Brahmari. So for Brahmari, we use the thumbs to close these ears. So these are the lobes which we need to press and the ear closes. So close your ears. The index finger will rest here on the forehead and the 3 fingers will rest here. We will breathe in, and then as we breathe out, we create the humming sound. So start. Then there is another pranayam that's called Shitali. It creates coolness. So what we do, we create a tube of the tongue, and then through this tube we breathe in, and breathe out through the nose. So as we breathe through the tongue, the moisture on the tongue cools the air, and you get the cooling in the body. The other one is called the kaki, like a crow. So you make your mouth like a crow. Then there is another pranayam that's called the Ujjayi. In Ujjayi, we constrict the respiratory system here, constricting the neck and all, and we try to create a sound. Then there is one very powerful mudra that is called the Maha Mudra. Maha itself means the super. It's the super posture that actually does the prana yoga. It is a series of movements. I do not want to explain this mudra completely because you may not be able to get it, but I can just show you one round as to its movements, and the best thing is to to learn these mudras with trained gurus who have complete command on these techniques. These are highly refined techniques, developed techniques which are developed by the rishis. This comes from the Maharshi Patanjali tradition. Maharshi Patanjali is the original proponent of the science of yoga. He perfected this Hatha Yoga, and those were written in the sutras, and that's why the Patanjali Yoga Sutras are the main treatise, the main source for all yogic practices. So for anywhere you need to go to the source, you need to know the authenticity. It's best to refer to the Yoga Sutras and see what the Yoga Sutras have to say. Even Bhagavad Gita, where all the 18 chapters are